Welcome to the Art of Happiness. My name is Tam, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Erin and Tam.
Hey.
And today's topic is going to be hobbies and AI, which I think is
a pretty hot topic. Well, not hobbies and AI, but AI is a hot topic.
Yeah, I think AI is a hot topic, but I feel like we could hit this one in in my mind, I'm at least thinking of two different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like we can hit this topic from, like, just a creative person versus, I don't want to say versus, and AI,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we could think of it as also, like, millennial moms and AI. Like, there's two different realms that I feel like I kind of want to hit on.
Okay,
today.
I like that. I like both those directions we can talk about.
Okay, so first of all, what are your thoughts on hobbies and AI? And what does that mean?
Yeah, I think that, well, one, I have been utilizing AI a ton, like with ChatGPT. I think it's wonderful. Like, it's very helpful in a lot of ways. As far as hobby, like, utilizing for hobbies, I haven't gone there yet, but I can definitely see how it would be very helpful to think outside the box, think of things that I hadn't thought of. Give me ideas if I'm brainstorming. It is in some, way better than Google in a lot of ways, and you can customize it. Be like, I want a new hobby, but I don't want anything related to knitting.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
And no, I think it's in my mind, it's a great way to enhance yourself or enhance your ideas and not necessarily rely on it 100% though.
No, I think at best, like, it's basically a great analytical person to have in the room.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if, you're my partner in this, right? So, like, whenever I have an idea about the podcast, like, you're the first person I want to, like, go to and talk to about it, right? However, sometimes it's 2:00 in the morning and you don't want to have that conversation with me. It's really nice to have that, like, immediate instant gratification in that thought process, right? But I have been curious because I we know a lot of creatives, as we continue to build relationships with a lot of creatives in this podcast, and I feel that there is, like, this low hum of a little intimidation of, like, or I don't want to say intimidation. Let me take that word back. There is this low hum of conversation, is what I'll say, of how AI just lacks soul. Soul's the best word I'll use, right? It just it has great ways of helping you collaborate and analyze your thoughts and maybe even, like, group your thoughts as far as how you want to tackle a hobby, but it lacks kind of, like, the personality and finesse.
For sure.
Like, let me give an example. So I actually, when I knew that we were going to first do this whole episode about this topic, I was like, I'm going to do a little experiment with myself, right? And like, I know that I use ChatGPT for our podcast, right? So how do I use it for our podcast? So when I am thinking of a title and a description for this episode, what I typically do is I ask ChatGPT. Well, at first I ask you, what do you think? And then I'm like, hey, ChatGPT girl, what do you think of this? Do you feel like this makes sense? Did I put the comma in the right place? Because I don't know where commas go anymore. And ChatGPT helps with that, right? But one of the things I did is I just was like, okay, just, like, spit something out with me. Here's the key points I want to hit. Okay, so it does produce something really nice, but it doesn't sound like us. Yeah. It doesn't sound like Erin and Tam, right? So I just, for us and our creative space of our podcast, I see the benefits of it, like, helping me kind of bounce some ideas off of something. But it just doesn't carry the Tam and Erin vibe. Yeah. It doesn't carry our essence. And so I think that's essence. I think that's a better word than soul. It doesn't carry the essence of the individual.
It's not as authentic.
In that perspective, right? Now, I do know that there are some people who do use AI, like, as a creative space. Like, I think 3D printing falls in this category, right? And I feel like if you go to, like, trade shows, like, you find people selling, like, 3D printed stuff now. So maybe those people have, like, a different argument for the thought
I think
process.
That's different, though, because 3D printers are not artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know. Yeah. Thank you.
They have to be programmed.
See, I don't even know what a 3D printer is. I'm just like, what is it creating? No. It's alive!
I don't think so, yeah. No, I don't think that's the same thing.
I'm like, it's gotta count, right?
It's just, like, futuristic, so it goes in that bucket.
It's stressful in that bucket for me. I'm like, What else
No,
are you gonna frame me?
But I to me, you know, people are so scared of AI taking over, and I am too in some ways. Like there's a lot of scary things happening right now. But in the creative world, and when it comes to hobbies and art and things like that, I agree. I don't think it's going to completely replace the human touch, because it's never going to feel as authentic or real. But I think there's a place that can really help to just enhance your ideas, help you think outside the box, or just like you said, organize your thoughts. You know, sometimes I just use it to help me get other words. Like if I'm trying to create a description, I just need different words in my vocabulary. You know, because I'm not a thesaurus, so sometimes I utilize it in that way. You know, I'll write what I want to say, and I'll just say, hey, can you reword this for me, you know, a little bit or something, so I think that it can be utilized in that way, you know, just to help, and it helps you be more efficient.
Yeah. And I have to imagine that as, you know, like AI becomes like, you know, more involved in our culture, like there is going to be somebody that's going to think of a way to utilize it and create like its own like art form. Like even just look like on like the socials, like there's like this tag that'll just be like, this is AI generated, right? Like I feel like there is going to be, if there isn't already, like this movement that is like creative using like
I think there already is,
definitely. And I think there's like, you're allowed to have that space, and I think that there will be a space for that, and I think it's just, you know, it'll just be judged differently, like right? Like you couldn't compare it to Mona Lisa, right? Like you couldn't possibly. However, I bet there's somebody that's going to create something like just stellar out of AI that's just going to have this asterisk of it was AI generated, right?
I agree. We're entering a new world of creativity with that, for sure.
And there's you know, room for all of us at the table, right? So like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I'm not trying to put out this message that I'm like against AI and hobbies. I'm just saying that in this part of our episode, I could see where the creatives are coming from with the hum of like, I'm not so sure about this.
Oh, definitely. I think absolutely. I think that it's going to be really hard transition, and it's going to be a strange transition,
right?
For sure.
But I feel like, okay, so let's get out of the realm of like talking from the creative side, because I feel like I don't have a full experience on that side, right? That was just kind of me just wanting to kind of just note that that's there, that's perspective. But then like, let's flip it over to the millennial mom side, and like, can hobbies and AI work for the millennial mom? To which I feel like I have a lot of experience in, that I could say, actually, I think it kind of does.
Definitely.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, you know, you mentioned that you kind of have used it to kind of work with some of your words. Has there been any other thing that you've used as a millennial mom, ChatGPT 4, to help?
You know, I use it a lot for giving me lists for things, or if I need like just more ideas. So, or for in the hobby world, one where I think I could utilize it is even it could help you learn how to do a hobby much quicker. So instead of using Google or having to sift through YouTube videos, how do I start, you know, this hobby? I think it can give me like the 5 steps I need to do, or the 5 tools I need. And I think that in that way it could be utilized. So that's very specific. And then you can even ask it like, where can I find these materials the cheapest? And I can tell you that.
I hadn't tried that. So I did a little experiment.
Yeah, tell me.
So I think I mentioned before that one of the things that I feel I haven't tapped into yet in my hobby experiences is individual creativity. Like I'm doing a lot of replication. Like I just see something on YouTube and I just replicate it. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just I kind of feel like if I'm going to say I'm doing this podcast and learning about hobbies, I also kind of want to come from a space of originality. And I was trying to brainstorm on my own, and then also, you know, pulling Pat, my husband, in and just like asking him questions, and like it's hard to not still think of the same stuff, right? Or like have other things that it's like, I know, but that's just still, it's replication, it's not original. So I was like, well, let me try ChatGPT and see if it could help me think of a hobby. So I plugged in a bunch of things. I plugged in my favorite colors. I was like, give me a hobby that I can use green and glitter and purple and blue and something that is Dolly Parton themed. I love Dolly Parton. I even put her in there, and I was like, I love cactuses. I love rhinestones. glitter is my best friend. Like, I went through, like, and just put,
Yeah.
like, everything from animals, colors, everything I could think of. And it spit out a hobby for me.
And what was it?
It said, it suggested I do a diorama.
Oh.
Which actually took off into something that I'm not going to talk about right now.
Okay.
We're going to save
Oh,
this.
cool.
There's suspense here I'm going to leave,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
So this interaction I had with ChatGPT took me off into something that we're going to talk about in another episode.
Okay.
But right now I'm going to leave you with, it told me to do dioramas.
Wow. Take it back to, like, middle school.
And I was like, meh.
Yeah, right.
I felt some type of way, but I was very disappointed. I was like, after everything I gave you, that's the best
give me something else.
That's the best you can give me. However, we talk about, like, how we don't feel like that AI really carries that essence of human, right? Like, diorama just doesn't sound like Tam.
Right.
So, but again, I feel like AI is a great collaborator.
Oh,
so
definitely.
it did give me an
that
idea.
you can tell, you know that just a tip, like, and you probably know this, but you can tell it, like, I don't like that idea at all.
Yes.
Give me something else.
I do know that. And I didn't quite do that because I was a little annoyed.
Sure.
It came out with diorama. But it did give me a starting point because
No, it's great.
I will tell you, I didn't go too far from that.
Okay. Can't wait to hear what that is.
I know. And it actually broke into 2 hobbies that came out of it. But stop asking me questions about it, Erin, because it's got to be for another episode. I just need you to know that
I can't even venture to guess what it might be. So,
I just need to tell you that I diorama is what I got. That's it.
Okay.
Save it for the next episode.
Okay.
But so, like, it was interesting because, like, I really could, like, use it in that sense. But I was trying to think. I was like, okay, well, how other ways can millennial moms use this? And there was, like, brilliant stuff that was coming to mind. Like, okay, so I don't know if your kids do this, but there was, like, a year. I'm not even lying to you. It had to have been a full 12 months where Lennon, every night before she went to bed, wanted us to give her a dream to dream. Okay? And I can only think of so many scenarios. That's hard. Right?
Yes.
And
I hate when my kids, like, tell me a story. And I'm like, about what?
Exactly. Right? Dude, kick it into ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Let ChatGPT think of a story for you. Never thought of that. And
great
then
idea.
Actually, Erin, while it's thinking of those, if you can write those down.
Okay,
so
give them to you.
And turn them into children's books or something.
Good idea. I'll let you know if I come up with any good ones.
Yes, thank you, please.
Yes.
Or it can even, there was another mom that I spoke to who said that she kind of used it to kind of help her, like, ensure time reserved in her calendar. We always talk about how, like, that's a huge part of finding that self-care time. But it's actually, like, the hardest part.
Right.
ChatGPT can help you with that.
Yeah.
Or, if you're a mom and you're like, I have 10 minutes, I need a workout plan right now, but you just don't have the time to think about it right now. You didn't know you were going to get this 10 minutes.
Yes.
Like, what do you do? Boom, kick it into ChatGPT. I think, I'll be honest with you, like, when ChatGPT first started coming out, I feel like I was only hearing about it in the educational realm, and it was like a bunch of kids getting in trouble for, just using ChatGPT to write papers. And so initially I was just like, well, thank God I'm not in school right now, 1. And 2, it was like, oh, that must not be an app that's for me because I'm not a kid, I'm not in school, right? And so, it was always suggested negatively, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like it just had a very negative connotation for me that just felt like it wasn't something that I as a mom needed to utilize.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But the more I start to utilize it just with, like, us and our particular realm that we're in right now, I really feel like it could be a really useful tool for millennial moms that I feel like they should just have just as, like, a back burner.
Yeah, I think it's extremely helpful. And I feel like I use it every day for something. Like,
and it's really great for just helping you just at its best. It's a great tool to utilize just to help you create, like, put all your thoughts into one spot and then kind of have something analytical to just kind of bounce some ideas off of, right?
Yes.
I just don't feel like it's ever going to give me authentically Erin when it's talking about it or telling you what to do. But, like, enough to be like, okay, I appreciate your ideas, Chatty.
Yes.
But here's like a little bit of Erin's spin to make it more authentically Erin.
Absolutely.
Which I just love the essence of Erin, obviously.
Oh,
I think anybody who listens to this show is like, Tam's in love with Erin, and I would agree. So I guess, Erin, what do we want people to get out of this show? Do we want them to like ChatGPT, or do we want them to be against it?
I'm pro AI, ChatGPT at least, and I think that it's something that can really enhance like your life and your hobbies. So I don't think it's a bad thing for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think there's so many uses for it, and if you haven't ever dabbled with it, it's actually very user friendly.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
truly. Because like you said, you could even say in there like, I like that idea was trash.
Yeah,
something else.
Yeah.
Although, please make sure to say please and thank you to it, because if the robots take over, I would like to know that we promoted being kind to the robots, so that the robots are really nice to us back.
Well, the other thing that comes to mind too was that I'm not even gonna.
No, don't keep telling. I just basically admitted robots, please love us. Don't kill us when the apocalypse happens.
The other thing that comes to mind is that, like, sometimes we talk about how sometimes it's just hard to start a hobby because you don't know where to start, or you're worried you're not going to do it right or whatever. Yeah. I think that it can also help you free up time, like that process of just figuring out how to start. It can give you those basic tools to start and just so you can just kind of jump right in faster.
Well, it sounds like that's exactly what you did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's great, because we talk about how limited time millennial moms have. Like, so we don't have the time to sit down and research this stuff anymore.
Right. So it's just a time saver, really. Yeah.
It's very much a time saver. And like I said, like the example I said earlier, where it's like, if like suddenly you got 10 minutes that just came out of nowhere that you can use.
No, that's a great example.
And you don't have time to think of something. You just like, I have 10 minutes. What is something quick I could do?
Absolutely. I think recipes too. You can do that. My husband has done this, and I totally forgot this, but he has done this where he'll be like, I have this, and this in the pantry. Give me a recipe for these ingredients, and it has spit out some decent, good recipes.
I can't even tell you how many times because
I can't trying to Google that, it's going to be really hard to take a long time to find the right thing.
Well, and I just don't have the capabilities, I guess I'll say, to try to put the verbiage into Google to give Google to tell me what I want, right? But ChatGPT does have those capabilities. I didn't even consider.
Yes.
Oh, that's a game changer. I'm going to try it. Guess who's going to learn how to cook now?
I don't think that's going to change it.
I'm going to do it Chopped Chef style.
So exciting.
Where it's like, here's a bag of Doritos and a Snickers bar and a cookie.
Ooh.
Make a 5-course meal.
Oh my gosh.
This dessert's going to be better because ChatGPT.
That's amazing. What a great idea. I love it.
But that's a really good point.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless, really. I mean,
So millennial moms. Yeah. It's not a scary tool. Right. I highly recommend using it. Just have it living back there. And again, don't think that by using it, it makes you any less creative. Right. You are creative. You are still you. You are still plugging the ideas in there. Just make sure that, when you interpret it, that, you find a way to put your essence in there. Right. And for the love of God, if you ask it to create an image, if you could just proof check that image before you put it out there. Because I think you'll find that even in creating image art, ChatGPT, she's still working through it.
Yeah, I haven't gone down that road yet.
I tried to get her to create a rainbow cactus.
Oh.
No.
Didn't hit the nail.
No. I just wanted a really cool iPhone wallpaper. Yeah. And it was just no, that's not a rainbow cactus. Stop it.
I mean, that's the one thing, you have to be very specific with it. You have to be, to get what you want. Yeah. So, anyway.
Well,
but it's a learning process.
Specific, even when...
Isn't that so true?
Raising a husband sometimes.
Or children, yeah. We know all about that, right?
Right. All right.
Yeah, so give it a try. Let us know what you think.
I'd be curious to hear what everybody thinks.
Yeah, or how you're utilizing AI. I'd love to hear other ideas. Like I just told you something, you told me something that I didn't know, and vice versa, and you just keep on learning.
Get the discussion out there. We love to talk about it, and we love learning more and wanting to continue to grow as moms and hobbyists. So we would love to hear back from all of you guys. Be sure to tune in, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.
Talk to you later.